Hey everybody, Privacy Smurf here from Zenalytics Trading with your Fear and Greed update to keep you one step ahead of the retail market.
Today's sentiment updates for the week ending April 5th, 2024. Sorry for any weirdness in the sound. I'm back recording again at a local cafe. Bitcoin had a wildly volatile week, and as suggested in the last update, sub 59K prices came in. Sentiment is only slightly down from last week. We still have majority bullish sentiment measuring at 58. There aren't any predictive elements to the chart at the moment. We're at kind of an interesting place with Bitcoin, sort of a decisive moment. Cycles would suggest a downturn. On the weekly time frame, bearish divergences have signaled a trade to the downside with targets around 45.5K. Despite these conditions, there is some stabilization on the chart that suggests the bottom might be forming. Ultimately, I'm expecting consolidation, a forming of the bottom and perhaps a touch below the recent lows. Sentiment on the S&P is slightly up from last week. As suggested in the last update, we did see a dip, but we didn't break through the lows of April. Sentiment is measuring at 41 right now, which is still a majority bearish opinion. There are no predictive elements at the moment in the chart. Perhaps the divider between bullish and bearish sentiment will lie around the 52.40 price level above us. Speculatively, the ES isn't as bearish as Bitcoin. There are still weekly bearish targets around 49.40, but similar to Bitcoin, there is some stabilization showing on lower time frames. However, that is on a slightly weak base. The US dollar index continued its fall from last week. Sentiment right now is still a majority bullish opinion at 68. Technicals do show a decrease in bullish momentum on the Dixie, but bearish trade signals haven't appeared yet. It's really a tough call on this chart right now. Perhaps we're witnessing the breakdown of the dollar. Maybe it won't be a bearish trend, but it will be a forming of a range and a gradual sliding down. Maybe the decline in the last few days has just been a fake out and will rally back up to the highs. I don't act when there aren't signals, and all the analysis here is just guesswork at the moment. I would urge caution to traders dealing with stocks and crypto right now. This chart is one that will have to be monitored for the next couple days. Gold sentiment is slightly down from last week. It's measuring at 70, which is still pretty bullish. Since visiting the greed zone on the daily time frame, bearish divergent trade signals have hit their initial targets, and secondary targets are representing around 22.20. With all the down days we recently experienced, the weekly time frame is caught up and it's now showing a topping formation. If prices do fall to that daily time frame target at 22.20, intraday time frames will need to be monitored for potential signs of a bounce in the bottoming of the range forming. I'd be looking for these clues because without any signals on the weekly time frame, I'm not really expecting the formation of a long-term bearish trend, but that's something that'll need to be monitored at a later date if we hit these levels. Sentiment on the 30-year bond contract is up this week. However, we're still the majority bearish opinion, measuring around 47. There aren't any predictive elements to the chart at the moment. Perhaps the price level of 117 would be the divider between bullish and bearish sentiment. The initial targets for the bullish trade close last week at 115 were hit. Secondary targets remain at 117, and I'm looking for that to be a level of resistance. The intraday timeframes haven't topped out yet, so there may still be room to the upside, but we are going against a larger downtrend. If the 117 price level is broken, it'll be important to watch lower intraday timeframes for divergences because this will signal that a topping may be forming at that level.
Just a reminder, sentiment is great as an indicator, but it's really best utilized with some objective form of technical analysis to generate a signal to act on sentiment readings. If you like this analysis and want to help keep your emotions in check, pop into the Discord. I update sentiment there daily and have a bunch of extra tools and analysis that can elevate your trading game. Link is in the description, and I'll see you next week.
How the sun, it's like bouncing off the floor right in my eyes. Speculatively, speculatively, I hate this word. Speculatively, wow. Turned it up. I don't know how well my North Chancellor is going to deal with this. I don't think the cafe owner likes it. He just turned up the volume on the music.